Whoa. Here's our headliner, Sean Spicer, former White House press secretary, senior advisor and spokesman for America First Action. Sean, good day to you, and hello and welcome back.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Heather.
What is your take on the vote that happened initially? You had a number of Democrats, but they increased their numbers each time, and now they were just short of what, about 100 the other day? What do you think, Sean?
Well, it went down 332 to 95. Al Green, the congressman that put this in, introduced it on January 21st. I mean, this is not a serious effort. This was done the day Trump was sworn into office. It's clearly politically motivated. The Democrats are trapped. They know it's a good talking point for their base, but at the end of the day, they recognize, and Nancy Pelosi more than anyone recognizes, that they will clearly lose the House of Representatives and probably guarantee the president's re-election if they continue to move forward with this. I think the American people who are with them on this is a plurality of Democrats. This is the far left. This is their base. This is the people that the Democrats running for president are appealing to and kowtowing to. But this is not the majority of Americans by any stretch of the imagination. And I would fathom it's not the majority of Democrats. So they're really walking this fine line of trying to appease the far left base of their party and recognize their prospects of maintaining a majority are very, very slim if they continue to go too much forward.
Sean, you mentioned Congressman Al Green. This is, in fact, what, the third time since President Trump took office that he has pressed the House to go forward with these impeachment hearings and things like that. He definitely says he's not backing down. Listen to this.
I still think we'll take some time, and if appropriate, we will bring additional articles of impeachment. I believe that the Judiciary Committee at some point has to do something with the investigation. I don't believe in paralysis by analysis. So at some point, if the Judiciary Committee doesn't act, I will. I have no desire to do this myself, but I do believe that the Constitution ought to be honored.
Well, you talked about what Democrats will do moving forward. That's at least what he's going to do.
Right. I mean, so again, I think we got to peel the onion back for a second and make sure everyone understands what's going on. Even if, for some far-out reason, they got to a majority of Democrats that wanted to support this in the House and it could pass, it's not going anywhere in the Senate where it would have to go. Therefore, this is truly and 100% a political exercise. That being said, I think, as I said a moment ago, the Democrats have to recognize they lost the last election. We're 2.5 years out from it. They lost. Hillary Clinton ran a horrible campaign. Donald Trump and the RNC ran a great campaign. He won with 306 electoral votes. He won states that they took for granted, and he's going to win them again. If they really care about moving forward as a party, they would be better spent putting their time and effort into the next election instead of trying to replay the last one. Now, I'm the last one to try to help them out. So in a weird way, I actually don't mind what they're doing now because it's a wasted political exercise. It shows the American people that this is what they do with the majority. This is what they do with power. They don't advance ideas and policies. They go after the President of the United States and their opponents for 2.5 years ad nauseum.
Okay, Sean, let's turn to the back and forth throughout. We just want to get your take on what we've been reporting on for the last several days. You were at a lot of rallies during the campaign in 2016. The President was asked about what happened the other night in Greenville, North Carolina at the White House.
I was not happy with it. I disagree with it, but again, I didn't say that they did, but I disagree with it.
This is multi-layered, you know. It's the squad versus the president. It's the president versus members of the squad. You had cries of racism this past week from the crowd in North Carolina. How do you view this now, after what we went through this week?
Well, first and foremost, I think the president was absolutely right to call this out. These 4 women are American citizens, and we should be disagreeing with their policies and what they're putting forward, not by any means disparaging their origins, their ethnicity, or anything else that are people trying to make this into. So I think the president did the right thing by calling out the chant that was said at that rally. That being said, you talked about, you know, the squad versus the president. This is what this really comes down to, is socialism versus freedom. This comes down to prosperity versus more socialism. And I think that the more we can frame this about that choice, and what has happened over the last week is there has been a crystallization of the choice that is coming up the next election. It is about these women leading the Democratic Party further and further to the left, a march towards socialism, an embrace towards socialism, and what the president and the Republican Party are offering, which is more freedom, more prosperity, capitalism, free enterprise, all the things that I think have made this country great, that have made it a magnet for people around the world to want to come and prosper. This is why. This is the argument that we need to be putting forward in this election, and let the Democratic Party rally around the squad and their socialism principles and policies.
Chant, I want to ask you something about what goes on behind the scenes, because it's so rare for President Trump to. He didn't go back on what happened, but he did disavow the chant and what happened. We can say that. How rare is that, and what type of pressure do you think he got to do that?
Look, I've been around the guy for a couple years. I don't think I've ever seen him, when people talk about the pressure he was under, he at the end of the day has good, excellent gut instincts, right? He understands the mood of the electorate, understands messaging, and he might have gotten a lot of input, is probably how I'd rather put it, and he made a decision. And I think in this case it was the right decision. But it's his gut that is always guiding him more than anything else. He solicits opinions and ideas, but it is he who ultimately makes that decision and knows exactly which way, what the right thing to do is and what the right argument is. That's where I look at this.
I just want to squeeze in one more topic here. On the Democratic side, there seems to be an open and public argument now about what the best course is for health care within the Democratic primary. Here's the headline: Bernie Biden clash over Medicare for all. Bernie slams Biden, says he sounds like Trump on Medicare. Here is Joe Biden responding to Bernie's claim here. Sean.
I'm not criticizing Bernie. It's just everybody should know. The Medicare plan that will replace existing Medicare, it's not the same plan. It doesn't mean it's not good or bad. It's a different plan. Everyone will get off the plan that exists now and get on another plan. Under the proposal I have, you'd be able to keep your insurance with your employer if your employer still is prepared to pay for the insurance.
So that's Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders said, "I'm disappointed, I have to say," and Joe, who's a friend of mine, really distorting what Medicare for All is about. Unfortunately, he's sounding like Donald Trump. He is sounding like the healthcare industry in that regard. How much deeper does this run 15 months away?
Well, first, there is a bit of irony in Joe Biden wrapping himself around the idea, if you like your plan, if you like your doctor, you can keep it. That might not be the smartest political move that I've seen in a while. That being said, this is a fight for the heart and soul of the Democratic Party. Joe Biden's wrapping himself around the Obama legacy, Obamacare, and Bernie Sanders continues to embrace the socialistic tendencies and policies of Medicare for all and undermining the nuts and bolts of our current healthcare system and what people enjoy. Mark my word, though, this is where I think people may be reading the system wrong. Bernie Sanders does unbelievably well in caucus states. He did very well last cycle versus Hillary Clinton one-on-one. You've got Iowa right off the bat. I think that's where Sanders has a big chance, despite the polls. It's a small state. He just needs his people to come out. He goes to New Hampshire. He's a favorite son. South Carolina, he'll have problems. And then he goes back to Nevada, which is a caucus state, big culinary union there. I think that people are underestimating Bernie Sanders at this point in the race, and it's now becoming a fight for what I would call the traditional heart and soul of the Democratic Party and the direction that Bernie Sanders wants to go in. Unfortunately for the Democrats, Bernie Sanders supporters are that far-left, hardcore nut group of people that come out over and over again, especially in caucuses.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's talking about how to pay for it, though, because he also went after Kamala Harris and, Hickenlooper, saying that neither one of them are talking about how you would pay for it.
Well, yeah, but with all due respect, Heather, he's talking about pay for it as if, like, somehow these trillions of dollars are going to grow on trees. I mean, just because he's putting out a number doesn't mean he's given a realistic description of how it can be paid for. He is telling you how much it costs, which is an insane amount of money. He's saying that somehow these people who don't exist in this country have all of this wealth that he's going to tax at an abundance level that's going to come in. It's built on a house of bad cards.
Okay. Sean, thanks for coming on today. Good luck tonight. You're throwing out the first pitch in Pawtucket. You nervous?
That's
Pawtucket
exciting.
Red Sox, here I come. Yeah.
Good luck. Get it over there, man. Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Sean.
I'm going to try.